Hey everyone, Big Jason. I'm here with Doberman Dan. How's it going, Dan?
Going great. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure, man. Appreciate you doing this. So, today we're going to be going over an ad by Scott, our beloved Scott. And it was actually a damaged set letter that instantly squeezed over $65,000. And this was included in Scott's volume one of his hottest sales letters with Shortcut Copywriting Secrets version one. And what he didn't say on this, maybe he didn't know it yet, but this promotion was mailed 3 times previously. So this was to leads that had either seen and rejected or not opened 3 previous promotions. So this was Scott's idea, like, hey, I think we should mail them one more time and give them a special offer. And it did over $65,000. And that's not all. In his hottest sales letters, he mentions that, yeah, and I came up with this crazy idea about the order form, and I scratched some stuff out. I wrote in it, and Chris, Gary Halbert's partner, and Gary, they didn't like it. They didn't want to run it, and Scott basically had to force them to run it as is. And once they saw the results, they had no problem with it. So, but before we go over that, Dan, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you knew Scott, what you thought about Scott as a man, as a copywriter, and his course. So, why don't you take it away?
Well, how I met Scott, this goes back a long time. I was selling a course about direct mail that I didn't create it. I got the license from the guy who created it, Bill Myers. And I was selling it through two-step ads in magazines. And I think it was, like magazines like Success and Entrepreneur. I don't exactly remember where I ran it. So Scott bought that course from me. And, I have my contact information in the sales letter, if anybody had any questions. And he called me about something, and we got to talking. This was before the Halbert connection, any of that stuff. So that's how we initially met. And then, of course, later down the road, he wound up connecting with Gary Halbert and working with Gary, as did I. So we had that connection. But yeah, I had known Scott 22 years.
Wow.
And the amazing thing was, like, we talked on the phone all the time. When he was hanging out with Gary, I'd talk to him. And also when Gary Halbert was living with me in Costa Rica, he'd always call and talk to both of us. And so we kept in touch all these years, and after 22 years, I mean, you feel like you're really good friends. You really know each other. But the amazing part of it is we didn't meet in person until GKIC's Info Summit in, what was that, November of last year?
Yeah, November 2016.
After 22 years, the first time we met in person, even though we always talked about, hey, are you going to this event? Yeah, man, let's hang out. Or, are you going to be in this area? Well, then I'll come down. And we've had those conversations going on for 22 years. But finally met in person at that event, which, is another hard lesson learned for me. And I said the same thing when Gary Halbert passed away. Like, man, I just took it for granted that he'd always be around. So every time we talked about getting together and it didn't come together, it was like, no big deal. Scott will be around next month. I can always call him.
Right.
And not to get into this kind of stuff, but I mean, that was a hard lesson learned. Maybe people are not always going to be around. You never know when they're going to get taken away. You want to meet somebody, you want to hang out with somebody that you feel a connection to and that you love. Just do it now. Don't wait.
Definitely. Yeah. Bonds told me that, man, that's the one blessing he takes out of this is that he went to GKIC and got to hang out with Scott for the first time in like eons.
Wow. Yeah. It was funny. We both said to each other, it's hard to believe it took 22 years to meet in person. You know, like we've had this friendship all these years, but never met in person. Though I was really glad that he went to that event.
Yep. Yeah, I basically had a foursome, and I take care of, get everything set and ready to go, so you didn't have to worry about anything. And uh, I think it was my wife's gourmet Mexican chocolate salmon and better than New York cheesecake that finally sealed the deal.
I can see why. It sounds delicious. Now I got to figure out a way how to get a sample of that.
Yeah, man. Next time we're together, or you're in Austin, or we're in somewhere where you're gonna be, let's do it.
I'm I'm going to take you up on that. It's public now. It's recorded, so
Cool. So, yeah. So you and Scott were great friends. I found lots of correspondence between you guys. But what about Scott as a copywriter and his course?
Well, so I mean, I bought his course immediately when it came out, and as a copywriter, there were none better. And I'm not the only person to say that. I mean, lots of clients will say that, but Gary Halbert also told me that. In fact, when one time, Gary said he was going to crash at my place in Costa Rica when I lived there for the weekend, and wound up staying like 4 months. So Scott asked Gary to take a look at some, I think it was weight loss copy, you know, and Halbert himself said it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at Scott's ad, and if he's on and he's nailed it, then you know there are none better. He's one of the best copywriters in the world. Word for word, he's one of the best copywriters in the world," is what came out of Gary Halbert's mouth.
Wow.
Who himself was one of the best copywriters in the world. Oh, and his course, I think it's one of the best copywriting courses I've ever purchased. Again, I'm not the only one to say that. I mean, I know lots of people who bought it and are saying the same thing. And Gary Halbert himself said the same thing. In fact, Halbert said, buy Scott's course before you even buy any of my stuff. That's how highly he thought of that course.
Wow, that's awesome.
And by the way, I'm on the whatever the pre-order, the early bird list.
The waiting
for
list?
For the new version coming out. I am, as soon as I get the email, I'm clicking the order button. You don't even have to use any copy. You could just send me to a page with just an order button, and I'm buying it. And I've already got the previous version. That's how much I value it.
I'm gonna send you an email just for you that just has a link that says "Buy now."
That's all you need to send me. and really, if anybody knows how good this course is, that's all they need. They just need to buy it.
So yeah, so that's basically what you would say to someone who hasn't had the pleasure of getting his course, and version 2 is going to be coming out. You tell them to just go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, listen, I'm a junkie. I buy a ton of copywriting books and courses. Scott's course is applicable for a complete wet behind the ears raw rookie and advanced guy also, you know, an advanced working copywriter. Both those people and anything in between can get value out of it. In fact, I need to reread it myself. It's been a couple years since I've read it because I've kind of been a little bit of a nomad here. I've moved twice now in the past 2 years. So a lot of my stuff is in storage, and a lot of my books and courses are in storage. So that's in storage, and I need to review that again. In fact, I should be reviewing that regularly. That's how much I really get out of that course.
And what does it do for your greed glands finding out about all these home run controls that Scott was hoarding? You know, like not even Caleb and Sam have had these letters. They're freaking out because, like I'm sure like yourself, they'd love to see winning controls. And as I was telling you before this call, he's got 3 or more winning controls. From one of them was over 14 years ago, and this is for his longest running client who I talked to. And he says he cannot find, like, he goes to events all the time and there's copywriters there looking for work, and he's got his checkbook open and he's constantly trying to beat Scott's control, and he cannot do it even today. And version 2 or volume 2 of his hottest sales letter is going to be included with Shortcut Copywriting Secrets version 2. So what does that do for your greed glands, knowing you're going to get your hands on them?
Yeah, that's got my greed glands going. I've never seen these pieces. Scott produced so much stuff that I've never seen them. I want to get my hands on them. A 14-year control is just insane, like just unheard of. I gotta see that. I mean, anybody who's serious about copywriting has to see that.
Yeah, what's the whole story behind that was in 2003, Scott had been selling a book, sold millions of books. It was doing well. It started to get a little stale, and he was also selling this $4,000 piece of software that was doing well but getting a little stale. So he went to this client and said, hey, I got this idea, so why don't we give away the book for free with shipping and handling, and then we'll upsell them the software. Well, it did over 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 years. This client told me it did over $4 million. And after that, he took it and tested it online, basically word for word, just added some pictures and a short demonstration video, and it's still pulling today, just like Scott wrote it 14 years ago.
That's amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on that and all the other swipes.
Awesome. So let's go over the ad now. Hey, this is Big Jason. So what's included with Shortcut Copywriting Secrets version 2, and how do you get it? All right. So number 1, you're going to get Scott's original Shortcut Copywriting Secrets course. You're going to get his original Hottest Sales Letters, volume 1. Plus, you're also going to get his missing magic order form. In volume 1 of his Hottest Sales Letters, he mentioned an order form that he lost that worked like magic for a promotion he did for Gary Halbert. Well, I found it, and you're going to get it. Plus, you're going to get the all-new Hottest Sales Letters volume 2. This is over 200 pages of home runs, including 4 controls. 3 of the controls are still running today because his longest running client can't find anyone who can beat Scott still today. All right, so who's going to be breaking these ads down with me? Clayton Makepeace, John Carlton, David Deutsch, Adam Carroll, Colin Chung, David Garfinkel, Brian Kurtz, $1 Million Mike Morgan, Harlan Kilstein, Kevin Rogers, Sammy Markowitz, Caleb O'Dowd, Bon Halbert, and many more. All right, so how do you get your hands on Shortcut Copywriting Secrets version 2? Well, you go to shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com and get on the wait list, because I'm going to be releasing this very soon. All right, and once you opt in, you're going to get a very special recording from a expensive Gary Halbert seminar. I found this in a promotion that Scott wrote for Gary. I was cleaning out his apartment here in Austin for his family, and it's a killer message from No Sex Gary, a real honest-to-God way to get rich with direct marketing, okay? So you're going to get that just for opting into the wait list, all right? And then on the thank you page in the welcome email, there's going to be a link for my private Facebook group for Shortcut Copywriting Secrets version 2. Join that, because I'm going to be releasing some rare audios and interviews and some information that I found in Scott's stuff that's really cool that I'm not going to release anywhere else. So once again, this is Big Jason. Thank you so much for helping me continue Scott's legacy. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Scott was my best friend. So go to shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com, and I'll see you there.
Sure, actually, so I got into response in 2000, 2001, and stumbled upon this whole world of direct response, and I got really drawn to copywriting in particular. So I started studying Gary Halbert, the Gary Halbert letter, actually old cassettes that I still Yeah, sure, absolutely. So that's the topic right here. The Darren Calvin Masterpiece Collection is next to it. Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets is next to it.